Welcome back to Ability Plus. You remember we discussed about persons with disability, their education in Nigeria, especially the deaf community. So today we have with us a very important visitor who will explain to us more and take us to the world of deaf education in Nigeria.
This project has 4 focal areas, which I will explain. The first focal area is education of the deaf, where we develop a manual that will best summarize the best teaching approach for deaf education in Nigeria. The second focal area is the Nigerian National Association of the Deaf capacity building. And the third focal area is the building capacity of interpreters in Nigeria to close the communication gap, to bridge the communication gap and create access. Number 4 focal area is the USAID capacity building their own capacity on how to collaborate and engage with the deaf community.
Can also use spoken English, but I decided to sign. Why? So that I can communicate well with the deaf. So we'll be talking about educators of the deaf. So deaf and hearing both can sign. So that is part of our project goal. They will introduce themselves. I hope you are curious to meet them. I'm also curious to meet them. Welcome here, our guests. Please, can you introduce yourselves to us, to our viewers at home? Hello, my name is Khadijat Rashid. I'm a professor at Gallaudet University, and I'm also the dean of the faculty. And I'm also the executive director of this project that is called Deaf E3 project. Yeah, I have 3 different works to do. Wow, you're welcome. Please introduce yourself, sir. My name is Temitope Olani. Sign for my name is T.O. on the chin. I am the in-country teacher lead for the Deaf E3 project in Nigeria. It also has the support of Wesley University in Ondo State. Wow. You heard? E3. I'm puzzled. Are you also puzzled? You want to know more? I want you to please explain more. What is E3? What does it mean? What's it all about? Please explain to us. Thank you. The Deaf E3 project is supported by USAID for the American people. That idea is to support deaf education in Nigeria, but not only deaf education. Strengthening the deaf education in Nigeria. That's the first one. And that is what our friend here is all about, Mr. Tope. The second area is working on empowerment of deaf persons in Nigeria. We are working with the Nigerian National Association of the Deaf on that one. That's the NNAD for empowerment. That's the second. Now the third one is employment. Because it would be good to provide education and empowerment, but if there is no job, that means it's almost useless. So what is the point? So that's the need for the 3. And then the fourth one is to help USAID to build the capacity to work with deaf people and other disabilities around the world, not just in Nigeria. So this is a model project for them. They're very, very serious about it. They're interested in it to make sure it goes on well. We've had meetings with them every week. We're discussing we're looking at how to make it improve. It's a very important project. So the first one is empowerment, education, and employment. Oh wow, it's so beautiful. On the part of empowerment, what are you doing with NNAD on part of empowerment? NNAD is an organization that represents the deaf in Nigeria, all over Nigeria. The problem is that the organization itself doesn't have a lot of resources. It is all supported voluntarily. It's a voluntary organization. Some of them have jobs, some are busy, not entirely focused. So we want to work with them to build their capacity so that they can serve and work well with deaf Nigerians, irrespective where the deaf people are. From Bauchi to Lagos to Port Harcourt to Sokoto, all over Nigeria. They're representing all the deafs in Nigeria. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. I want you to please shed more light on education. Who are you specifically focused on? How do you want to establish that project? Who are the beneficiaries? I'm a professor at Gallaudet University, which means that I'm a teacher myself. I would allow my colleague here, Mr. Tope, to answer that question because he is in the in-country lead.
Thank you very much. You agree that people with disabilities, their human rights is as equal as every other person's, and at the time they access education without a problem. So it has been noticed that deaf persons, they are a minority group in the general group of persons with disability itself. So why? Because of the language, the sign language, and access to learning information in sign language is also a problem. So MMP training is a focus area one that focuses majorly on sign language. MMP is a multilingual, multimodal pedagogy, and it's an approach that is used. We wanted to use it to address education problem. The challenges faced by deaf persons, the hard of hearing and deaf blind in the learning system in Nigeria. And our goal is to bring, at the end of the training, to develop a manual that will be documented in the best way to teach, the best system, the best approach that can be used and implemented in the classroom. So we will share to every other ministries, Ministry of Education, deaf organizations in Nigeria, National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, and many other interested agencies that want to know about the deaf. We will share the manual with them to know more about our educational needs. And we're hoping that this training, when we finish with the training, it will be possible and it will be of a great benefit to us.
That's wonderful, fantastic. In what you've explained about deaf, they're a minority group because of language barrier. Please, you as a deaf person, have you had any challenge or problems that you feel that the deaf persons face when it comes to education?
As I said earlier, sign language is a big issue for the deaf community, and it starts from home. Many deaf children, while they were born, have no access to sign language because the parents does not understand sign language and they don't know how to sign. And as they continue to grow, as time goes on, the other hearing children in the family. The parents communicate with them, share interaction, more access to language, and they have a mental development in that area. They develop mentally. But for the deaf child, no, there is nothing. So the deaf child grow, and by the time the deaf child goes to the school, they start teaching the deaf child, and the deaf child will feel, what's the problem? This child is slow. They will feel the deaf child is slow. No, it's not the fault of the child. The problem is maybe because when they were growing, there is no access to language. And now, it is important that we address this issue so that when the deaf child goes to the school, things will be smooth for the child, the education will be easy, and they will be able to access sign language, which will help them to improve their academic performance and their social interaction in life.
I agree with you. Do you have anything to add to it? I think he has said it well. I just want to add that because some persons are born deaf, sometimes they can't speak. Please do not think that talking is a sign of intelligence. They are two separate things. Some deaf persons can talk and some deaf persons can't. Some deaf persons can, but they decide not to talk. So it is not connected to our brain. Yeah, I just wanted to say that. Thank you very much. Very beautiful. Now, I want you to please share with us if you have started. How? What steps have you taken? And with who have you collaborated with thus far?
We are focused on deaf teachers. Deaf teachers. Teachers of the deaf. Teachers of the deaf in Nigeria. We selected 18 teachers to participate in our training, and that numbers include 2 Ministry of Education staff. So we have 20 altogether, and we have made sure that all over Nigeria, out of the 6 geopolitical zones, we have participants from three participants from each geopolitical zone, so that we will have equality, and then we understand gender balance. So we have been training, and we focus on 3 areas. Number 1 is the family.
Wait, again, you focused on the first one.
The first one is family, and the second one is the school authority, and the third one is the teacher. The family, which is number 1, we want every family to connect fully in the training of their deaf children, because it has a lot of role to play in the life of the children. As a deaf child, they should not be neglected. They should be involved in learning sign language to have interaction with the child, because it will help to build the mind of the child. The school authority. We also want the school authority to support and prioritize sign language as the approach that we wanted them to use, because they feel that no, there is no need. No. The concept of inclusive education came in. We wanted to talk about inclusive education, especially for the deaf learners. Sign language is very, very necessary and important. Inclusion does not mean that you just bring everyone together. Inclusion means everybody must be included. Everybody must be included in the sign language education, and then we must be able to interact together. Then the third one is the classroom teacher. The classroom teacher has control over the classroom. Then the approach of teaching, the method at which the teacher implements the teaching activities should also show by using sign language. The steps that the teacher takes in the classroom in helping the and improve their academic performance. and other things.
This is a
very beautiful project. Just like you said, it's true.
When you talk about,
when you were talking about parents, wow, I will explain something to you.
I
have a deaf lady. Her parents can't sign at all, and they came here to meet me. And they said to me, my daughter is misbehaving. She's behaving in a bad way. She has no respect. She fights. She does all sorts of bad things. And I felt, what can we do about it to approach this matter? It's a very important matter. Just like you were explaining, it came back to my mind and I remembered it. It is very important for parents, parents personally, to learn sign language, because nobody can be like a parent. If you don't teach your deaf children, who would now help you to teach them? So I agree with you. Parents, they have a very good role. You also mentioned about the school administration. The schools themselves, do you mean that all over the school or just special schools?
Okay, we have a first step, which is the special school where the deaf learners are. But we are hoping that all the schools will start learning sign language. Even we open one of the subjects to be taught in the classrooms. And I also believe that it will be a proper way for inclusion of deaf community into the larger society in Nigeria.
Cool, in Abuja some time ago, when we arrived at the school, to our surprise, many of the teachers can't sign well. What you will see, you understand this, that they just gesture to the student, they can't sign. I felt worried. How will a deaf person understand all what the teacher is saying? So when they say I'm coming, when they saw me coming, they just brought paper and signed. So what would the deaf person explain in the paper when she doesn't even understand what is being taught by the teacher? So to say that this project is a very wonderful project, I am really interested in it, and I hope you viewers at home would love it the same way I love this project. It is a way that will lead to success in Nigerian deaf education. I want to say something, please. What you said earlier about parents is very important. I just want to emphasize your words, because when they have deaf children, they think that it is a curse or a punishment from God. I want to say, no, it is not. That is not true. Look at three of us here, sitting here. We all are deaf and we all are successful. We have jobs. We have gainful employment as well. We are married. We have kids. We have education. Please, parents, if you have deaf children, don't hide them at home. Bring them to school. It is free. The federal government of Nigeria provides free education for deaf children. Take advantage of it. You don't know what your children can become in the future. I just wanted to add that to what you said. Thank you very much. This is another beautiful idea that she has brought to our table. Many of you feel that, oh, I have a deaf child. No. I can't do that. I have to hide the child. It's a cause. It is a bad thing. Many bad people feel it is bad. For example, when I became deaf, if you see what my parents did, they went to heaven and earth to make sure that I become hearing again. When I became tired of it, drugs today, drugs tomorrow, different places, I told them I'll kill myself if they don't leave me alone. But today, can you imagine that girl is now a presenter on this television today? Look at our beautiful and handsome guests here. They are deaf. One of them is a professor and dean of faculty of Gallaudet University in America. So who says deafs can't? We can. We just have to do what? You just have to believe in us. Have faith in us. No matter you're deaf, if you have a deaf child, send that child to school. You don't know the future. The future is beautiful. Thank you.
You mentioned teachers who don't understand sign language. Yes, it's a big issue, and our training we have emphasized on sign language. Why? Because it's a national language that connects the deaf children, because it's a visual language, and so we have to prioritize sign language as an approach and emphasize on it as a teaching way, because it's adding to them as a second language. Because in the classroom the teacher will come and teach the deaf child and we are teaching them in English. Yes, you're teaching in English, but use sign language as a mode of expression, because it is the basics on which the child will understand. So when you use sign language to express the teaching, then it will give them the opportunity to understand. And what we're trying to do is to apply this MMP training and use it to encourage the deaf teachers to continue to improve their sign language and the deaf child that are using it. Thank you very much. I have, as you were signing, I grabbed something. The deaf teachers, you've mentioned deaf teachers. I want to tell you something. When it comes to employing teachers for special schools, the Ministry of Education needs to look at the deaf persons, and once they see deaf persons, they put them to schools to go and teach. You know what many of these deaf persons do? They don't have any educational training. These deaf ones don't know. So when they arrive to the school, they are completely useless to the deaf children. So what can people say about it? It is a very big challenge that even myself as a deaf person, this practice needs to stop. If a teacher can sign, why would you send, because the teacher can sign doesn't mean you send the teacher to the special school. What can you say about it? Yesterday and last week, we visited the Ministry of Education. We visited the National Commission for People with Disabilities. We also visited different government offices on that matter. We're trying to explain to them that exactly what you just said, that deaf persons cannot just in a place just because they have special needs or because they are people with disabilities, because what a deaf person needs is different from what a blind person needs. A blind person can talk and hear, but a deaf person can't hear anything, and you put them together, no. So we must have teachers who know sign language, and we must also have access, must be able to communicate with deaf children so that they would learn. We have been explaining this to all of them. Yesterday we met with the commissioner at the Ministry of Education, and we explained to him. First, he told us we do activities on the special school, and we provide quite a lot of support to them. So I had to contradict him, and I told him, no, what you're doing is not good for the deaf. Oh, he then realized, and then they learned after I explained. So I want to use this opportunity again here to also explain that not all disabilities are the same. You have to ask every one of them what is good for you, what do you need, and provide accordingly. Do you have any addition? No, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
Like we've discussed so far, so good.
In Nigerian constitution,
It is provided that children with disability needs to have free primary education. Yes, the Constitution of Nigeria said that. And truly, many of the children with disabilities are out of school. Why? Because they lack quality education, lack of special teachers, there is no fund for the education sector, and more. All these challenges are the things we face. People don't believe deaf can also go to school. Yes or no? Yes, I am a deaf person and I went to school. I graduated from the university. How do I learn? I used sign language. Yes, in Nigeria, sign language. So the deaf in Nigeria are very poor when it comes to sign language. Education is very low. Why? Because of the lack of the quality teachers. This is where we're going to close for today, in which we have discussed all the things we have explained about deaf education in Nigeria, the parents, the teacher, the educators, and more. We also have our professor who have explained about the project they have brought to Nigeria. Thank you all for joining us on our show today. I am truly your host on Ability Plus, and we love you all.